Hi guys. Today we'll be seeing about pituitary gland. Okay. இப்போ pituitary gland அப்படின்னு பார்த்தா it consists of two components. Okay. One is the anterior lobe சொல்றாங்க, இன்னொன்னு posterior lobe. Anterior lobe நம்ம adenohypophysis ன்னு சொல்றோம், posterior lobe neurohypophysis அப்படின்னு சொல்றோம். இது ரெண்டுத்துல பார்த்தா adenohypophysis constitute about 80% of the gland. Majority adenohypophysis தான். So இந்த pituitary gland control பண்றது யாரு அப்படின்னா hypothalamus. Okay, so here you can see the pituitary gland. Okay, now we will see about the histology of anterior pituitary. So this is a picture representing, so inge eosinophilic cytoplasm, so you call it as acidophil. Basophilic cytoplasm இருந்தா you call it as basophil. Some poorly stained cytoplasms இருந்தா you call it as chromophobe. These are the three things present in anterior pituitary histological section. Okay, so certain transcription factors have been required. அதாவது டிரான்ஸ்கிரிப்ஷன் ஃபேக்டர்ஸ் இருந்தால் தான் ப்ளூரிபொட்டன்ட் ஸ்டெம் செல் வந்து டெர்மினலி டிஃப்ரென்ஷியேட்டட் செல்லாக மாறும். ஸோ அதுக்கு ஏற்ற டிரான்ஸ்கிரிப்ஷன் ஃபேக்டர் அப்படின்னா சொமாட்டோட்ரோப் செல் டைப், மேமோசொமாட்டோட்ரோப் செல் டைப் அண்ட் ஆக்டோட்ரோப் செல் டைப், இந்த மூணுத்துக்கும் தேவைப்படக்கூடிய டிரான்ஸ்கிரிப்ஷன் ஃபேக்டர் அப்படின்னா இட் இஸ் பிட்யூட்டரி டிரான்ஸ்கிரிப்ஷன் ஃபேக்டர், தெர் இஸ் PIT1. as well as for gonadotropes they require some transcription factor, that is steroidogenic factor 1 and GATA2. So these are all the transcription factors which differentiates your pluripotent stem cell to the terminally differentiated cell types. Now the terminally differentiated cell types of anterior pituitary அப்படின்னு பார்த்தா there are actually 6 differentiated cell types, that is somatotropes, mammosomatotropes, lactotropes, corticotropes, thyrotropes and gonadotropes. This somatotropes secretes growth hormone, mammosomatotropes both growth hormone and prolactin, lactotropes secretes prolactin, and corticotropes produces adenocorticotropic hormone and pre-opiomelanocortin, that is POMC, and melanocyte stimulating hormone. This thyrotropes secrete thyroid stimulating hormone and gonadotropes secrete follicular stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. The function of these is follicular stimulating hormone will help in the formation of Graafian follicle in the ovary. The luteinizing hormone induces ovulation and helps in the formation of corpora lutea in the ovary. Both these hormones regulate spermatogenesis and testosterone production in males. Now coming to the posterior pituitary, it composed of modified glial cells that you call it as pituocytes, as you see in this picture. And also it consists of axonal processes which extends from the hypothalamus through the pituitary stalk. Actually, the posterior pituitary stores the oxytocin and vasopressin. It is primarily synthesized by the hypothalamus and it gets stored in the axonal process. And whenever the stimuli is given, these hormones have been secreted. So these are the two hormones of the posterior pituitary, that is oxytocin and vasopressin. Now we'll see about some clinical manifestations of the pituitary disease. Any hormone, எந்த ஒரு ஹார்மோனா இருந்தாலும் clinical manifestations பார்த்தா either அந்த ஹார்மோன் எக்ஸஸா செக்ரீட் ஆயிருக்கணும், இல்ல டெஃபிஷியண்டா செக்ரீட் ஆயிருக்கணும், இல்லனா ஏதாவது டியூமர் இருக்கலாம். Now hyperpituitarism அப்படின்னா there is excessive secretion of trophic hormones. So அதுக்கு causes என்னென்ன causes இருக்கலாம் அப்படின்னா the most common cause is pituitary adenoma. Oma, you mean tumor, and adenoma is nothing but a benign tumor of the epithelial tissue. This is the most common cause of hyperpituitarism, and the other causes include hyperplasia. What is hyperplasia? It is increase in number of cells, as well as malignancies of anterior pituitary, secretion of hormones by non-pituitary tumors, and certain hypothalamic tumors. So these are all the causes of hyperpituitarism. Now moving on to hypopituitarism, that is deficiency of secretion of trophic hormones. This causes of this will include ischemic injury, surgery or radiation, inflammation, non-functional pituitary adenomas, and the local mass effects or tumors will include. The earliest change is the radiological abnormality seen in the sella turcica. As you see in this picture, sella turcica is nothing but a bone. So this bone may erode or there will be cellular expansion, okay, cellular expansion and disruption of the diaphragmatic cellular. These are all the primary changes. What will be the other changes of these local mass effects will include visual field abnormalities. Why visual field abnormalities அப்படின்னு பார்த்தாக்க இந்த செல்லாட்டசிக்கா ஓட proximity-ல தான் optic chiasma and optic nerve will be present. As you see in this picture, this is optic chiasma and an optic nerve. செல்லாட்டசிக்கா ஓட proximity-ல தான் இது ரெண்டும் இருக்கும். So once sellatorsica gets any erosion or expansion, this optic nerve and optic chiasma gets compressed. Okay, so if this compress, this will lead to visual field abnormality, especially defects of both the lateral visual fields, which you call it as bitemporal hemianopsia. Okay, so this will include the visual field abnormalities, and then other changes will include elevated intracranial pressure, which includes the symptoms of headache, nausea and vomiting. The other change or cause will be pituitary apoplexy. Pituitary apoplexy is nothing but acute hemorrhage into an adenoma. இது வந்து ஒரு neurosurgical emergency and it may even lead to death. Okay, and the posterior pituitary lesions, it may be due to increase or decrease ADH secretion. Now we'll discuss about the pituitary adenomas and hyperpituitarism. As I discussed, the most common cause of hyperpituitarism is pituitary adenoma. So in the pituitary adenoma, functional இருக்கலாம், non-functional இருக்கலாம். So functional அப்படின்னா, this pituitary adenoma will lead to increased secretion of trophic hormones, also associated with clinical manifestations. But non-functional abdina, there will be excess secretion of trophic hormones, but there will be no clinical manifestations seen. So that is only functional and non-functional pituitary adenomas. These non-functioning pituitary adenomas may cause hypopituitarism by destroying the adjacent anterior pituitary parenchyma. And this pituitary adenoma peak incidence is between the age of 35 to 60 years. And this adenoma can be classified into microadenoma and macroadenoma. Microadenoma, the lesion should be less than 1 centimeter in diameter. Macroadenoma, the lesion should be greater than 1 centimeter in diameter. So non-functioning pituitary adenomas most likely come under macroadenomas. Okay. Prevalence rate is 14%, and if you see this table, this is a classification of pituitary adenoma. So pituitary adenoma na hyperpituitarism. So hyperpituitarism na there will be increase in secretion of trophic hormones. So corticotropic hormone increase secrete anuchu appadina leads to Cushing syndrome or Nelson syndrome. Somatotrope secretion jaasti aiduchu appadina leads to gigantism in children and acromegaly in adults. Lactotrope increase in secretion abdina, it leads to galactorrhea, that is nipple discharge, and amenorrhea, absence of menstruation in females, sexual dysfunction and infertility. Mammosomatotrope secretion jaasti aiduchu abdina, it leads to combined features of growth hormone and prolactin excess. Thyrotrope hormone increase secrete aiduchu abdina, it leads to hyperthyroidism. And gonadotrope, if it increases its secretion, then leads to hypogonadism, mass effects and hypopituitarism. Now what is the pathogenesis behind this hyperpituitarism? Abdina, this is very common pathogenesis, that is G protein coupled mechanism. Okay, so the most common alteration in pituitary adenoma is G protein mutation. Okay, so generally we know this G protein composed of alpha, beta and gamma subunits, which play a critical role in signal transduction, transmitting signals from cell surface receptors, that is GHRH or TSH or PTH, and to the intracellular receptors, which is adenylase cyclase, which then generate the second messengers that stimulate the cellular responses. This is a function of G protein. Now what are the functions of the subunits? The alpha subunit will bind with guanine nucleotide and interact with both the cell surface as well as intracellular receptors. Beta and gamma subunits are non-covalently bound to the alpha subunit, and GS is a stimulatory G protein. Okay, the alpha subunit of GS protein is located in chromosome 20q13 and it is encoded as GNASG. Okay, so as you see in this picture, in basal state, okay, In basal state, the alpha subunit of the G's protein will be bound to the GDP. Okay, and it will be in inactive state. But once the ligand comes and binds with the receptor, the alpha subunit of the GS will dissociate the GDP and gets bound to GTP. Okay, after binding, it leads to activation of adenylyl cyclase, which activates your cyclic AMP secondary messenger, and this leads to cellular proliferation and hormone synthesis and secretion. So this is the mechanism. But normally the GS alpha activation is impermanent. Okay, because of the intrinsic GTPase activity in the alpha subunit. What is this GTPase activity? அப்படின்னா ஒன்றும் இல்லை, இந்த GTPase enzyme will convert your GTP to GDP. Okay, that is this step. Okay, here the intrinsic GTPase activity takes place. Now what happens in these pituitary adenomas அப்படின்னா 40% of the somatotrope cell adenomas bear GNAS mutation. What is this GNAS? It is the alpha subunit of the GS protein, right? So there will be mutation in the alpha subunit of the GS. Okay, if there is mutation abdina, that will abolish the GTPase activity of GS alpha, leading to constitutive activation of GS alpha and persistent generation of CAMP. Okay, so in the step turn agadu. So constitutive activation of GS alpha. So GTPA inge produce aagithe bound with alpha, and this leads to persistent generation of cyclic AMP, and this leads to unchecked cellular proliferation. Adanal over secrete aga aarambichirum. Generally the pituitary adenomas are sporadic in nature. Okay, and the germline mutations are associated with the familial adenomas but occur rarely with the sporadic adenomas. This includes, this is not much important, but just to know, MEN1 mutation, which encodes for menin, which is a tumor suppressor protein associated with GH-PRL and ACTH adenomas. CDKN1B, which is a P27 protein associated with ACTH adenomas. PRKAR1A, which is a negative regulator of protein kinase associated with growth hormone and prolactin adenomas. AIP, which causes protein kinase predisposition syndrome, and it is associated with GH adenomas. Now we'll see the morphology of hyperpituitarism. Now if you take the gross, it will be solitary, forming discrete soft masses within the sella turcica, and larger adenomas can even compress or infiltrate the adjacent structures that you called as invasive adenomas. So as you can see in this picture, see, this is the gross. Okay, so this is a case of invasive adenoma. As you can see, this is a larger adenoma which compress your sella turcica and infiltrate to the adjacent areas. Okay, now if you take the microscopic picture of hyperpituitarism, as you see in this picture, the pituitary adenomas will be composed of uniform polygonal cells arranged in sheets or cords. Okay, and the reticulin is nothing but a supporting connective tissue which will be scattered in this case, and the cytoplasm of these tumor cells will be uniform throughout the tumor. This characteristic, this is very, very important, this cellular monomorphism and absence of significant reticulin network will distinguish the pituitary adenoma from the non-neoplastic anterior pituitary parenchyma. So this is a very diagnostic or characteristic feature of hyperpituitarism: cellular monomorphism and absence of significant reticulin network. Okay, now what will be the signs and symptoms of hyperpituitarism? As I already discussed, this is the same thing: radiological abnormality of sella turcica, visual field abnormality, that is bitemporal hemianopsia, as well as signs and symptoms of elevated intracranial pressure and pituitary apoplexy. Now coming to the types of tumors, as we saw in the classification, the same thing: lactotrope adenomas secrete prolactin and can present with amenorrhea, that is absence of menstruation, galactorrhea, that is nipple discharge, loss of libido, that is loss of sexual desire and infertility. Somatotrope adenomas secrete growth hormone and present with gigantism in children and acromegaly in adults, as well as diabetes mellitus. Corticotrope adenomas adenomas secrete ACTH and present with Cushing syndrome and hyperpigmentation. Now moving on to hypopituitarism. Hypopituitarism nale pituitary hormone, that is there is deficiency of trophic hormones. Okay, so causes and associated clinical features of hypopituitarism includes, first thing is non-secretory pituitary adenoma. That is pituitary adenoma irukku, tumor irukku, endha or hormone secrete pannala appadina, then it may lead to hypopituitarism. Okay, next associated cause is Sheehan syndrome. Sheehan syndrome na onnu illa, ischemic infarct of the pituitary following the postpartum hemorrhage. Onnu illa, postpartum hemorrhage க்கு அப்புறம் okay pituitary வந்து ischemic infarct ஆகும். What is this ischemic infarct அப்படின்னா, ischemia அப்படின்னா generally loss in blood supply, அதாவது blood supply flow குறைஞ்சிரும். இந்த blood supply குறையிறதுனால next severe blood loss, blood supply ஆனிச்சு அப்படின்னா there will be tissue necrosis, that only you called as infarct. So ischemic infarct அதுதான். Okay, so as you can see in this picture, this is a picture representing Sheehan syndrome. You can see here, see, this is the normal. After the ischemic infarct, that is tissue necrosis due to decreased blood supply, you can see the difference. Okay, now this is a pregnancy induced pituitary growth leading to increased susceptibility to hypoperfusion, and it is usually this Sheehan syndrome patients present with failure to lactate, absent menstruation and cold intolerance. The next cause will be empty sella syndrome. This is nothing but atrophy or compression of your pituitary. Okay, this is a picture representing this. Inge normala pathina you can see the pituitary prominently, but here you can see it gets compressed and only you can see the outer lining. Okay, now this is only atrophy or compression of the pituitary, and this is often idiopathic of unknown cause, and it is common in obese women, and it is associated with idiopathic intracranial hypertension. Okay, the other causes would be pituitary apoplexy, brain injury and radiation. Now moving on to the posterior pituitary syndromes. Okay, so ADH secretion ஜாஸ்தி ஆயிடுச்சு அப்படின்னா it leads to SIADH, that is syndrome of inappropriate ADH secretion. இதுல என்ன ஆகும் அப்படின்னா hyponatremia. Why hyponatremia அப்படின்னா, the excessive amount of free water will get absorbed into the circulatory system of cells, leading to hyponatremia. Okay, and ADH deficiency leads to diabetes insipidus. Okay, here in the diabetes insipidus, there will the kidney is not able to absorb water properly from the urine, so this leads to polyuria, that is excessive urination. Okay, now moving on to the hormones and their control. Generally na sonna pituitary gland is controlled by hypothalamus. Over hormone paatha GH, that is growth hormone, controlled by growth hormone releasing hormone and growth hormone inhibiting hormone. TSH is controlled by thyrotropin releasing hormone. ACTH is controlled by corticotropin releasing hormone, and gonadotropins is controlled by gonadotropin releasing hormone, and prolactin is controlled by prolactin inhibiting hormone. Okay, so the growth hormone and prolactin in the rendu hormone mattum has a inhibitory control, and prolactin eduthitta it has only inhibitory control, no stimulatory control. Okay, now we'll see about somatostatin. Now what is somatostatin? It is a growth hormone inhibiting hormone. Okay, so the mechanism of action is that it inhibits the secretion of growth hormone, prolactin and TSH by pituitary, and inhibits the secretion of insulin and glucagon by pancreas, and almost all GI secretions it inhibits. Okay, what is the mechanism na generally we saw hyperpituitarism GS. Okay, here it is GI, since it is a growth hormone inhibiting hormone, so inhibition takes place. Onnu illa, same G protein mechanism. Now somatostatin, somatostatin binds to the somatostatin receptors அப்படின்னா it inhibits the activation of adenylyl cyclase, leading to inhibition of cyclic AMP, which will block your hormone synthesis. So that is the mechanism. And what will be the uses அப்படின்னு பார்த்தாக்கா secretory diarrhea. Okay, octreotide is a somatostatin analog, so அதுவும் இதோட யூஸ் தான். So it is used in secretory diarrhea, treatment of bleeding esophageal varices, used in perioperative prophylaxis in pancreatic surgery, and it is also used in diagnostic imaging of pituitary adenomas, okay, as well as acromegaly. Now, the adverse effects includes abdominal pain, nausea, diarrhea, steatorrhea, which is oily stool, as well as gallstones. Now we'll see about the prolactin inhibiting hormone. Actually, the prolactin inhibiting hormone வந்து D2 receptors will act like this hormone. Okay, so D2 receptors என்னென்ன அப்படின்னு பார்த்தா bromocriptine and cabergoline. This will act like prolactin inhibiting hormone. So what will be the uses of this அப்படின்னு பார்த்தாக்க, you can remember the uses as HP DAS. Okay, so hyperprolactinemia, அந்த கேஸ்ல இதை வந்து கொடுக்கலாம், because hyperprolactinemia is due to excessive secretion of prolactin. So இது PIH கொடுத்தா it will inhibit, so it is used hyperprolactinemia, where the drug of choice is cabergoline due to its longer action. And it is also used in Parkinsonism, diabetes mellitus bromocriptine, and acromegaly the drug of choice is cabergoline, as well as for suppression of lactation. Now moving on to the oxytocin. What is the function of oxytocin? It is used to stimulate the uterine contractions as well as ejection of milk. The drug of oxytocin is a drug of choice for augmentation of labor. It is a drug of choice for treatment and prophylaxis of postpartum hemorrhage, as well as it is a drug of choice for breast engorgement. And moving on to the last thing, that is antidiuretic hormone or vasopressin. What is the function of it? It is vasoconstriction and water retention. It acts on, this vasopressin acts on V1 and V2 receptors. Okay, so V1 receptor, it is present in blood vessel and cause vasoconstriction. V2 receptor is present in kidney and it causes decreased urination, as well as it is present in endothelium of blood vessels, from which factor 7 and factor 8 are released. Okay, now what will be the agonist and antagonist of this vasopressin receptors? The agonists include terlipressin, which is a drug of choice for esophageal varices, and desmopressin, which is a drug of choice for central or neurogenic diabetes insipidus. It is also a drug of choice for nocturnal enuresis, and it can be used for von Willebrand disease and hemophilia, since it is present in the endothelium of blood vessel and it releases factor 7 and 8, so it can be used for von Willebrand disease and hemophilia. Vasopressin receptor antagonist in Vaptan. Okay, Vaptan is used for chronic heart failure and SIADH, that is syndrome of inappropriate ADH secretion. It can be the other antagonist is conivaptan. The other one is tolvaptan. Tolvaptan, it is used for the treatment of autosomal dominant APKD, that is adult polycystic kidney disease. So these are the antagonists. Now what will be the stepwise management in cases of SIADH? Generally, SIADH, due to the excessive amount of free water absorption, it leads to hyponatremia. So what will be the management in this? First is fluid restriction, and the next one is giving 3% NaCl. Even then, if symptoms persist, then the drugs can be given. The drug of choice is Vaptan. Okay, and demiclocycline can also be used for this SIADH. Okay. Thank you guys. Bye. Take care.